For thousands of years, humans looked at storms, stars, disease, and death with the same terrifying question: who controls all of this? Before science, nearly every mystery pointed toward God. Lightning was divine anger. The sun was sacred. Even human life itself felt impossible to explain. Then something changed. Science began pulling answers out of darkness. One discovery after another slowly replaced mystery with understanding. Planets moved because of gravity. Illness came from bacteria. Lightning came from electricity. Suddenly, questions once answered by faith alone had scientific explanations. But that created a deeper fear. If science keeps explaining the universe piece by piece, what happens to God? Few people represented that conflict more powerfully than Stephen Hawking. Confined to a wheelchair, unable to speak without a machine, Hawking still explored the deepest questions humanity has ever asked. How did the universe begin? Why does time exist? What created the laws of physics? And perhaps the biggest question of all, does the universe even need a creator? What made Hawking so controversial was not just his intelligence, it was his conclusion. He believed science might eventually explain reality completely through the laws of physics alone. No divine intervention. No supernatural hand guiding the cosmos. Just mathematics, energy, space, and time, following rules that existed from the very beginning. To millions of believers, that idea felt cold and dangerous. To others, it felt liberating. But regardless of which side people stood on, Hawking forced the world to confront a question that refuses to disappear. Can science ever fully replace God? That question matters because it is a question about humanity itself. Are we living a universe designed with meaning and purpose, or are we simply accidents created by blind laws? Before judging Hawking's answer, we need to understand how he saw reality.
Stephen Hawking did not begin with the question of God. He began with the universe itself. He wanted to understand why anything exists at all. Why are there stars, galaxies, time, and space instead of absolute nothingness? Most people grow up hearing that God created the universe. Hawking asked a different question: what if the universe could create itself? To understand his thinking, imagine rewinding the cosmos backward like a movie. Galaxies move closer together. Stars compress. Space itself shrinks. Eventually, everything reaches an unimaginably tiny point. This idea became known as the Big Bang. According to modern physics, the universe expanded from an extremely dense and hot state around billion years ago. But that immediately creates another mystery. What caused the Big Bang? Many people see God as the answer. Hawking believed physics might answer it. Instead, he focused on gravity, quantum mechanics, and the strange behavior of space-time itself. In classical thinking, creating a universe sounds impossible because something cannot come from nothing. But Hawking argued that empty space is not truly empty. At the quantum level, particles constantly appear and disappear. Reality itself behaves more strangely than human intuition expects. Hawking believed gravity played the key role. Gravity does not only pull matter together, it also shapes space-time and influences the total energy of the universe. He proposed that the universe could emerge naturally from physical laws, without requiring a supernatural creator stepping in to start the process. This was not simply atheism based on emotion or rebellion. It was a conclusion built from mathematics and cosmology. To Hawking, asking what created the universe might be similar to asking what is north of the North Pole. The question itself may stop making sense when time and space begin together at the Big Bang. Still, Hawking never claimed science had already answered everything. In fact, the deeper physics explored reality, the stranger existence appeared to become. Black holes distorted time. Quantum particles behaved unpredictably. Space itself could bend and ripple like fabric. The universe looked less like a simple machine and more like something profoundly mysterious. Yeah? That is what made Hawking's ideas so powerful. He was not trying to destroy wonder. He was trying to explain how wonder itself might emerge from the laws of nature alone. By the end of his life, Stephen Hawking had become more than a scientist. He became a symbol of one of humanity's oldest debates. Can science explain everything, or will there always be questions beyond equations and experiments? Hawking believed the universe could potentially operate entirely through the laws of physics. To many people, that sounded like the removal of God from reality itself. But the truth is more complicated than a simple battle between science and faith. Science is incredibly powerful at explaining how the universe works. It can describe gravity, predict eclipses, map galaxies, and even study the first moments after the Big Bang. But there are still questions science struggles to answer completely. Why does consciousness exist? Why do the laws of physics exist at all? Why is there something instead of nothing? These questions move beyond measurements and into philosophy, meaning, and human experience. That is why the debate never truly ends. Some people see scientific discovery as evidence that no creator is necessary. Others see the beauty and order of the universe as evidence of something greater behind it all. Surprisingly, both sides are often staring at the same cosmos with the same sense of awe. Perhaps the biggest misunderstanding is believing science and God must always be enemies. Science searches for mechanisms. Religion searches for meaning. Sometimes they conflict, sometimes they overlap, and sometimes they ask completely different questions. Right? In the end, Hawking did not destroy humanity's sense of wonder. If anything, he expanded it. He showed that the universe is stranger, larger, and more mysterious than most people ever imagine. Whether someone believes that mystery points toward physics alone or toward something beyond physics may ultimately depend not only on evidence, but also on perspective. And maybe that is why the question survives every generation. The more we learn about the universe, the more we realize how much still remains unknown.